What's up, y'all? Coach Vic here from the Thai Boxing Institute of Mar Vista, California. And in this video, I'm going to talk about 10 very important lessons that I've learned in the 20 years of doing Muay Thai. Alright, y'all, here we are at the Thai Boxing Institute of Mar Vista, California. Filming this solo using a tripod. Very DIY. This is kind of where all the magic happens. Is that me right there? It's kind of where I spend basically most of my life, most of my days. Do work from home, but for the most part, all the work is done here, especially in the evenings. I'll talk about schedules and whatnot a little bit later in the video, but been now doing this, running a gym for 12 years, been coaching for 15 years, and now been doing Muay Thai for 20 years. I remember my first class at Muay Thai Academy of North Hollywood. This video isn't going to cover any of the beginnings, but if you're curious about how I started, I've written about it on our blog at thaiboxinginstitute.net. I'll post the links down below. The one thing I remember was the smell. It's interesting because I've gone everywhere else around the world, and to me, every Muay Thai gym sort of smells the same. It's just like the spectrum of where it's located, the humanity that inhabits the place sort of changes that sense slightly. But overall, they all smell like sweat, they all smell like BO, and they all smell like Thai oil. If there's one thing I could tell myself in the past, would have been to understand that, listen, good times never last, nor do bad times. You know, the times are just that, a moment. If it's a good thing, enjoy it. If it's a bad thing, it's not going to last forever. Instead of worrying about the future, worrying about the past, being anxious about it, be here now. There was so much time wasted in sort of thinking about what's next, or sort of thinking about the past. Even now, I have to make a conscious effort to always remember to be here now. You know, sometimes like when you first start some fighting or opening up a gym, for example, there are moments where things are kind of easy, to be honest. Whether the competition isn't as competitive or business isn't as busy, right? But once you sort of scale your career, things start to get a little complex, and sometimes you sort of feel like, damn, I wasn't enjoying the past because I was so busy worrying about the future. Or maybe once you're in the future, you're like, man, I really wish I was in the past when things were easier. To be very honest, it's just super important to understand where you are at the moment in the present. Enjoy the times you have with the people at the moment, whether it's your training partners or your coach. Enjoy the time you have right there, right now. Document your progress. Golly. 20 years ago, you know, technology wasn't what it is now. For example, if you want to consider 2004, the internet was just barely a thing, right? We barely had high-speed internet. And with that, we barely had cell phones, right? The cell phones that we used before, man, I don't even remember them having cameras. If they had a camera, it was like a big deal, and the quality wasn't that great. I wish I had footage of my smokers. I wish I had pictures and videos of me starting off so that I can kind of track my progress. Second, it's so important to document and study yourself. Some of the biggest learning upgrades I get from coaching are from either watching myself train and spar with the members here, or for example, we do a ton of tape study with the fighters. Afterwards, we get the footage and we analyze it. That doesn't mean post it up or anything. You don't have to do that. You don't have to share it on social media. It's more for your own, for your memories, for your studies, more for you. All right, this next one, pretty important. Be kind to everyone. Be kind to your training partners, be kind to your coaches, treat them with respect, treat them with dignity, treat them with love. Don't be fake kind. Be genuinely kind. I first began fighting because I felt like maybe I had something to prove, or I wanted to kind of hurt people, or even maybe I wanted to feel a little pain myself. And that's fine. That's maybe you fight that way. Maybe that's like your notion of competition. But the way I treat competition for my athletes is it's a sport. It's not fighting. It's a competition. We're training like professional athletes, and we're going to perform like professional athletes. And that wasn't the way I conducted myself when I was younger, right? So in the 20 years, there's been just sort of, emotional wreckage that I've sort of had to mend and clear up as the years progressed. In my life, I have struggled with sort of anger and resentment. And, I'm pretty honest and open about my substance abuse, right? But it wasn't even so much the use, right? It wasn't so much the drinking or the drugs, but rather the emotional turmoil that led me to use so that I wouldn't feel a certain way. If it wasn't for my own recovery and my own therapy and understanding my emotions and where things are coming from, maybe I would have continued to be a very vengeful, spiteful person. You never know who will remain in this scene. You never know who you'll cross or hurt or whatever, and they end up in positions that will be important to you, such as maybe officials and sanctioning bodies, right? Or, this is just an example. Recently got a CPA. Turns out that we used to work out together, and I had been like, man, did I ever fuck you up or anything? You're just a very reckless person. And with that in mind too, I would like to actually make a public apology to Shane Faison of Fight Tips. This was like maybe 2018. We had Liam Harrison there with Vinny Shorman. It was his first seminar stateside, I believe. Shane was there, and once the seminar was done, I remember making a snarky remark about learning Muay Thai from the internet, and I feel like people shouldn't be doing that. To be honest, it was directed towards them, and I want to say now, hey Shane, I'm super sorry I said that if I offended you. Understand that it just came from a bad place, and I hope you can forgive me and accept my apology. Other than that, Shane, despite what I said, has always been a gentleman towards me. Anytime we've met at the CSA coaching clinic or in the realms of martial arts. So anyways, Shane, I'm so sorry. You're a badass dude. Alrighty, next one is compete. In order for you to do Muay Thai, you don't have to compete. You can enjoy the sport within sort of the confines of a gym, within the community. You can hit pads. You don't even have to spar. You can learn the sport as is. But if you want to get better, if you want to transcend, competition is where it's at. I competed quite a bit and quite frequently. I never made it to be a professional, nor did I ever make it to the US Muay Thai team. And that was always one of my dreams and ambitions as a competitor, was to represent the US at the IFMA tournaments in Bangkok. But never had the opportunity. But now as a coach, I have had one of my athletes make it twice. 2 times at the World Championships, one in Abu Dhabi and one in Thailand. And that same athlete competed at the World Games in 2022. Feels good as a coach to take my athletes to the highest level. In my life, there's this idea of, okay, whenever I make a very calculated decision, I always go, will this be harder than training for a fight? Will this be harder than competing? And there are very, very few things that are harder than competition. So for example, when I first decided to open up the gym, I remember driving to go meet the landlords to go sign my lease, my first commercial lease, 5-year lease. I'm driving to my landlord, and it was the first time in a very long time I felt scared. Felt like I was getting cold feet. And this is what people must feel when they're about to get married, right? It's a huge milestone. It's a huge step in life. And I recall thinking in the car, well, okay, what's harder? Running the business or getting my ass beat and possibly knocked out or even dying in front of thousands of people. Damn, fighting is still much harder than that. 12 years later, do I agree? Yeah. The idea, the notion, the experiences of fighting for me now are barely wavering, right? And I feel and I sympathize and I have compassion for my athletes for when they compete, right? But that's not me in there. That is hard as fuck, right? Fighting involves so much of you. It involves so much sacrifice. It involves, if you have a partner, it involves a partner that understands what you're going through, someone that is capable of that empathy. Fighting isn't for everyone. You know, you can fight once or twice, you know, be a fight tourist and be like, yeah, I did that. But fighting for me was obsessive, right? That's what drove me. I loved fighting. And I loved fighting for the training, the arduous training, the suffering, the pain, right? I love fighting for the proving of myself that I can do that, right? For me, fighting made everything else in life much easier. And I always ask people, like, when you first decide to compete, really ask yourself, why are you doing it? Do you want to fight just to tell people you want to fight? Or do you want to fight because you want to prove something within yourself? I would say 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 times, people that say they want to fight to tell people that they fight usually never, ever do well. It's those with the drive within them that do really well. Fighting will make you better, faster. Performing under pressure, performing while people are watching will make your Muay Thai significantly better. To me, it feels like there will be nothing harder than fighting. Maybe perhaps raising a child, but that's a future Victor problem I don't have to worry about right now. And so with that in mind, don't let this be your identity. Whether it's a Thai boxer, a martial artist, whether it's a fighter, whether it's a coach or even an entrepreneur, don't pigeonhole yourself into this box of Muay Thai. For example, 12 years ago when I opened up the gym, I stopped fighting. So when I first transitioned out of competition, I had spent so much of my time identifying as a boxer. And then once that was removed, I felt empty. Sort of like the fallout of that and the behavior associated, you know, I felt lost. And it wasn't until I accepted that I will never compete ever again, that was when I felt relief and felt like I could move forward with my own life as being a coach and an entrepreneur, right? But it took years. It took years of fighting this. Oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to not. Maybe if I can figure out my schedule, my time, my energy. I didn't have anyone to make me understand that there is so much more to me, to my personality, to my being. Right? It wasn't until recovery and therapy where I did the work, and now I understand that I am Victor. I am a martial artist, but I am also a son. I am also a mentor. I'm also a sponsor. I'm also a leader. I am a musician. I am a writer. I'm a student. I'm a Latino. I'm a Angelino. I am all these things, not just a Thai boxer, right? So basically, in a roundabout way, it was like figuring out that Muay Thai made me feel validated. And the loss of that is what sort of sent me into this emotional spiral. And now understanding that my worth isn't just centered around Muay Thai. Okay, next one I want to talk about is go to Thailand. That is probably one of the biggest regrets I've had as an adult looking back at my Muay Thai career. So I've mentioned sort of my substance abuse issues and etc. And the one thing I kicked myself was like, okay, when I was young, I was just so reckless. And I loved the idea of being this stupid bad boy fighter and always being broke, right? Kind of punk rock, kind of hardcore, but not. Meaning, okay, I was always broke, but I always had money for alcohol or weed, right? What's that about?
Bruh.
Listen, not trying to live in the past, but if there was something I could tell myself when I was younger was, hey, dummy, listen, stop all that, save up that money, and go to Thailand. Thailand is where it's at. And I can't even imagine how it was 20 years ago compared to now. When you're young, you can kind of just get by. You know, you don't have to glam it up or anything. You know, now I need a nice bed. I need blackout curtains. I need to have my coffee in the morning. I need to have my breakfast. I need to have my time to rest and relax before I go out and do stuff. When I was young, man, I could be hungover as fuck, get up, go run 5 miles, come back, train for 2 hours and be chill, right? So now if I think of it, the time I spent partying was sort of wasted, and it could have been put to better use training. So if I have any advice for you guys out there, if what I just said sort of resonates with you, hey, make a decision. Budget, plan, go to Thailand. It's beautiful out there. The sport is so intense. The training is so much fun. The people that you'll meet, the culture, the language, the experiences. Now, here's a caveat to all that. Don't end up being this sort of gatekeeper, holier than thou. Oh, I've been to Thailand X amount of times, so I know more than you and I know better. Listen, motherfucker. maybe not, but
Shut your fucking mouth.
that type of attitude is not helpful, and not everyone has the privilege to be traveling to Thailand. I just barely went to Thailand for the first time in 2019, and to be very honest, I always sort of felt like a bit of a poser. I'd always have people coming in here and being like, oh, have you ever gone to Thailand? Have you ever been to Thailand? Have you ever fought in Thailand? No, I'm from North Hollywood, the Bangkok of California, so basically same. Met so many cool people. I understood the training should have been looking like all along. You know, the sparring, the culture. I feel like for sure I leveled up as a coach and felt very inspired and invigorated once I got back. If you're gonna go to Thailand, be cool about it. But go to Thailand, enjoy it, have fun, fight out there. The next one is kind of niche, kind of very steeped in the culture of competition. But if you ever get an opportunity, go to the IFMA World Championships. There will never be any other event where you'll find the highest level, the highest caliber of Muay Thai boxers everywhere from around the world in one location. It's amazing. All these different cultures, all these different languages, all these different expressions of the sport, all melding together in one place, competing against each other. The IFMA medals, especially the gold medals, they hold a lot of weight. There's a lot of value behind them. The first time we went was in 2022, and it was held in Abu Dhabi. I felt I gained so much knowledge as a coach and as a Thai boxer, sitting there watching about 10 to 12 hours of Muay Thai. And I think we were out there for 2 weeks, and the event is about 10 days. And man, it was a life-changing experience just to see it all, just to analyze, to interpret, to meet other people from around the world, talk about Muay Thai, talk about the culture, talk about each other's cultures. In Abu Dhabi, dude, Abu Dhabi, what the hell? Talk about being somewhere else out in the world. Man, wow, what a place, what an experience, and it's something that I am so grateful that I was able to do. Go to IFMA, go compete, go challenge yourself against the best in the world. If you're a coach, go out there and learn. If you're an enthusiast, go out there and support. Take care of yourself. Your health is wealth. Develop healthy habits, good diet, good sleep. Be mindful of your internet consumption, or even sort of comparing yourself to other people online. Invest in health insurance. If something is bothering you, don't wait till the pain is unbearable. Go see a doctor. Don't thug it out. Get some x-rays done, get an MRI done, see a physical therapist, do the work. Feel like there's a lot of things that aren't talked about because they're stigmatized within our fight culture, but things like the substance abuse, eating disorders, body dysmorphia, isolation, depression, codependency. There are many emotional support groups. There are many therapists that specialize in all these different areas. And if you feel like I touched on something and you don't know where to go for help, I'm going to post some links down below in the description and see if one of those resonates with you. And if anything, you can always shoot me an email or a DM, and I happily respond to all of them. It's not a bother. To tie everything up together for me, spiritual health. What does that mean? For me, it means being of service to others, and not just within the context of Muay Thai, but rather like community service, sponsorship, giving my time. Right? And getting out of my own head, getting out of my own ego, and being helpful to others. That to me is what spiritual health is. How are you going to be showing up for others if you can't even show up for yourself because you're dealing with some extreme physical or psychic pain? So if there was some advice when I was younger, it would be take care of that now. Take care of any sort of physical pain or ailments. Take care of your mind and take care of your spirit, because all these things, they compound as you get older, and to be honest, it gets worse. Learn from as many people as you can. My first coach in the sport was Malai Pet, right? Malai Pet Sasiprapa, and then maybe 3 months in, my second coach, and still I consider my coach, Crisanti. I try to see him 2-3 times a year, checking in just to see how he's doing, and it's kind of crazy. Like, sit there and think like, damn, man, like we've known each other for this long. He has a space in my heart for sort of creating all this, right? And I think that's like the beautiful part about this sport, is that, you know, one person can have that impact in your life that will change it forever, and that's mind-blowing. I love him to death. I think so highly of him, and he is a person that I aspire to be like. You know, but now it's different. I work so much. I spend so much time at the gym. I spend so much time maintaining the business that it's hard for me to be a student. So whenever I get the opportunity, I travel around and I learn from other Muay Thai coaches. Been all over the world in many, many different countries, and whichever city I'm at, I always try to find a Muay Thai gym, drop in, say hello, be respectful, be courteous, be kind. I get it. It's hard going to a new place and being the new member, the drop in there. Probably going to be paired up with a beginner. Maybe they're learning how to hold pads. Maybe they're learning the sport. For me, it's more like, hey, I am just very grateful that I get to still train and practice the sport. And I get to be a student again, because it's very rare for me to be a student here now. It will make for some uncomfortable situations, I'm not going to lie. There have been times where I've dropped into a gym and have been target practice for professionals, and that's fine. I don't take it personal. It's the name of the game. I know what I'm getting myself into, but that might be different for you. You know, my advice is to ask your coach how to navigate these situations, how to deal with a difficult sparring partner, how to play an evasive defensive game, and, you know, don't take it personal. Don't get angry. Don't get upset. Understand that sometimes you'll have good days and sometimes you'll have bad days. Now, I'm not saying be a gym hopper, right? And let me explain what gym hopping is. Gym hopping is a person that will train at one place for 1 month and then go to another place and train elsewhere, and, you know, yada, yada, yada. You are paying for all this, and you have every right to do whatever you want with your money. I really don't care. I tell people to always go and drop in. Maybe they have an open sparring event. Go here, go there, learn from this one, go learn from that person, take this seminar, do this, watch that, blah, 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 blah. But listen, this is where that sort of line in the sand is drawn. If you are considering competing, Now, this is where that whole idea of loyalty comes in. Loyal in that, like, we are developing a relationship where you and I can trust each other. And trust is the biggest thing when you want to compete. I don't know too many coaches that would willingly work for free to train a fighter, to honor them, to spend their weekend basically working for free. To us, as a coach, that debt is paid in full with trust, and that's kind of where loyalty comes in. For me, I will not consider training you until I really get to know you. And if you're gym hopping, if you're gossiping, if you're hurting the members, chances are I'll say no. That shouldn't limit you from learning from other people, right? You can still drop into a place, check a class out. You can still travel somewhere and learn from a different coach. You can still take seminars. Okay, oh man, getting tired. The next one. This is one that a lot of people don't really talk about. I mean, at least I've never really heard anyone talk about. This is going to be your schedule forever. If you decide to accept this lifestyle as like your being, a part of your being, right? I have had the same schedule for about 20 years now, right? So think of it like this. The way the flow of society works is that for the greater part of our population, we all had been working like a 9 to 5, right? And that sort of changed after the pandemic, right? When people were sort of allowed to work from home. But even then, that sort of landscape is changing back to typical 9 to 5 office jobs, office hours, right? So society works within that time frame. Now, all your training will get done mostly in the evenings, Saturday mornings. That's when everyone trains again. So once you start advancing in your Muay Thai career, whether as a practitioner or whether as an athlete, let's assume an athlete, now you are waking up in the morning to go run. You're waking up to go do your first training session, right? A good fighter is training both in the morning and training in the evening, right? So let's say like I wake up, go run for my 4 miles, go to my boxing gym, go spar, go hit mitts, go hit the bag, and that's like 2 hours. So let's assume, I don't know, 2.5 to 3 hours in the morning.
Go back home, shower, eat my breakfast, go to school, go take my college courses for a few hours, and then go drive to my tutoring job and be there for 4 hours, and then
drive back to MTA, Muay Thai Academy, and then train for another few hours. So basically, you're either training in the mornings or you're training in the evenings. Now, consider being a coach. You're either coaching people in the mornings or you're coaching people in the evenings, right? Whether you're teaching classes or private lessons. Those are the two sort of hours that bookend a 9 to 5er's life. And now if you're a entrepreneur, if you open up a gym, those are going to be your hours forever. On top of everything else that you have to do to run your academy. And let's be honest, let's be very real. You probably don't ever even stop thinking about your business, right? I know when I was fighting, I was obsessive about thinking about the fight, right? Every day, felt like every hour was spent mentally preparing myself for competition. So yeah, let me take a seat real quick. All right. And there's something so comforting about the schedule of a gym, right? You know what to expect, you know who to expect. The hours will never change. Everything is the same. Every smell, every sight, everything is as it should be, right? Forever. For as long as you are training, for as long as you're running a gym, none of that will ever really change. So that's something for you to consider. You know, for me, it feels like there's a bit of loneliness to it. Not a whole lot of life is happening between the hours of 12 and 4. And this job, what it is very physically demanding, so you're probably resting. The thing about this sport too, whether you are a practitioner, an athlete, a coach, or a gym owner, is that, you know, people come and go. And that's just the matter of fact in being a static object in the timeline of others. And it's okay, you know, everyone's entitled to live their life, and it's kind of foolish to think that this one person or this one moment will always remain. But if you're not taking it personally, it's not a big deal. You know, enjoy for what it is. Be present, be in the moment. That's something for you to consider, is that your schedule will probably never change, and you have to accept it. The way I see it is you live by the sword, you die by the sword, man. So yeah, 20 years. It's been incredible. The places I've been to, the people I've met, and the bonds I've formed. I feel very privileged to call this my life. And it wasn't easy. Like, Muay Thai isn't an easy sport. It's not easy training people, it's not easy coaching people, and it's not easy running a business. But I personally wouldn't have it any other way. I love this stuff. And as far back as I remember, it's been my ambition, my dream to be a martial artist. And it's it's all that I've ever could have asked for. Pretty badass to think that I spend my days sitting at home studying Muay Thai and martial arts, and then I get to go and practice it in the evenings, and that's what I call my life. All right, y'all, and that is it. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video useful, entertaining, whatever it may be, and you want to help us out, there's a few things you can do. Subscribe, comment, hit that bell, get notified. Add us on Instagram at the Thai Boxing Institute, or you can buy some merch, tdimerch.com. And with all that being said, I want to give an extra shout out to our sponsors. Thank you so much for all your support and for believing in what we do here at the Thai Boxing Institute. Thank you guys so much for paying attention to anything and everything we do here at the Thai Boxing Institute, on our channel on YouTube and everywhere else around the world. Appreciate you all very, very much. Till next time, take care. Bye.